Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
And to you, good day.
Thank you. I have read from L&L research that there are 67 million planets. And if this is true,
There are far more than that.
Wow.
67 million planets in what? You're talking about some kind of a confederation?
Yes.
All right. Well, there are different kinds of associations, alliances, and confederations. Within the association of worlds that our civilization happens to belong to, there are over 400 civilizations in that particular thing. 67 million planets may encompass a few galaxies if you are talking about the idea of civilizations on those planets. But there are galaxies upon galaxies upon galaxies upon galaxies, and there are an infinite number of planets. The 67 million you are referring to may just be a notation within a certain number of galaxies, or even your own galaxy. So, the point of this being what?
Crop circles?
Yes,
Could you
what about
explain, is that a certain civilization?
No. It is a combination of many different intelligences, some from different civilizations, some in spirit, but mostly it is made up out of the collective consciousness of your own people. You are dreaming these things into existence to wake yourselves up with the help of other levels of consciousness from other dimensions and other planets as well. It's a collective, artistic language to wake you up to the possibility of miracles within your own reality. It's a co-created effort. You follow? It is not just coming from a civilization. We are involved, Sirius is involved, many other civilizations are involved, but it is also all of you that are involved with your higher level consciousness. You are speaking to yourselves, dreaming yourselves awake with these communications. Investigate them, explore them. As you do, the different frequencies and vibrations that they all represent will awaken within you certain imaginings, certain awarenesses, certain connections, certain realities, certain frequencies of energy that will put you more and more in touch with more of yourself. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does that help?
Yes, and I have one more question, if I
Yes.
may. I think we've all watched Captain Kirk on the Enterprise and seen the different...
All right, we understand the idea.
Yes. And is that the way it is, in a way? That those beings look like...
Is that the way it is? What is?
I'm sorry.
Specifically, what are you referring
Well,
to?
the different beings, the way they look and...
Well, yes and no.
Go ahead, please.
Well, yes and no. There are many beings that are similar to what you would call your human form. There are many beings that are extremely dissimilar. Sometimes in what you call your science fiction, some of the science fiction writers have intuitively touched on some accurate portrayals here and there. Not always. Some of them are, in that sense, simply what you would call symbols, consolidations, to generate an idea that is true, but may not necessarily be represented by a being that actually looks that way. But in general, it is representative in the sense that, yes, there are many different kinds of beings, some of which look similar to you, some of which look nothing like you at all. We are of the variety that would be somewhat similar to you, but we are in contact with beings that look nothing like either of us, some of which are almost, shall we say, incapable of even being related to. There is one civilization we have talked about recently that we have begun an interaction with. Their name would translate in your language as Thuk. The Thuk. The interesting thing to us about the Thuk is that while you are interacting with them face to face, so to speak, you know exactly who you're talking to and what they look like and what you are talking about. But as soon as you turn away and leave their presence, You don't remember anything about them at all, except for the fact that you had an interaction with them, but that's about it. The nature of their consciousness is such that beings cannot retain who they are and what they look like the minute they turn away from them. In that sense, therefore, I would have difficulty even describing them to you because I don't remember what they look like until I'm actually standing in front of one. Then I could, but when I turn away, I have absolutely no recollection of what they are like at all. That's the nature of their dimensional reality. Sounds like fun, doesn't it? It creates a very large puzzle for us that we find most stimulating and challenging. Now, we ourselves are about 5 feet tall in your terms of counting. Our skin is very white. We are very, very slender in that sense. Our eyes are somewhat larger than yours. We are what you would recognize as a hybrid between human and gray. Do you understand that reference? For that is how we were created. You did, and the grays. You, in that sense, are our ancestors genetically. We are your children genetically, though we are different. We are in what you would call a probable future. You, in that sense, are in what we would call a probable past. But our understanding of space and time, being the illusions that they are, allows us to communicate without regard for the idea of space or time or dimensional reality. There are many other kinds of beings that exist on our ships. On our planet, we don't really have any built-up structures. Our cities are our ships. Our planet is similar to yours in a way, but there are many planets that are not. You could survive on our world if you made the dimensional shift, although you might be a little lightheaded at first because the oxygen content of our atmosphere is somewhat higher than yours. Our gravity somewhat less. The water content somewhat more. Will that do? Thank you.
Hello again.
And to you, good day.